Tau and Scribbles believed the worst was behind them. They were wrong. The enemies within the House Tarian had not vanished. So settle in and return once more to the world of Alpha King Tau Tarian, Luna Scribbles, House Tarian, and the Pack of Mooncrawl. Because some battles are fought with claws, others are fought with secrets, and the most dangerous ones are fought for the people we love. Chapter 7. We did not return to Mooncrawl immediately. Tau wanted to. I knew he did. I saw it in the way his eyes drifted east whenever he thought nobody was looking. I saw it in the restless energy that sometimes settled over him. The unanswered questions bothered him. The betrayal bothered him. The fact that someone had tried to kill him bothered him most of all. But I wasn't ready. Not yet. Mooncrawl had taken too much from us. My confidence, my peace, nearly my husband. When I asked for more time, Tau studied me quietly, then nodded. He didn't argue. He didn't push. He simply said, "All right." And that was the end of it. For the first time in years, he chose me over the pack, over duty, over politics, over responsibility. Just me. The realization affected me more than I expected. The weeks that followed became some of the happiest of my life. Not because anything extraordinary happened, because nothing did. We woke together, ate together, raised our daughter together, argued over foolish things, laughed over even more foolish things. Somehow, in the middle of nowhere, I found my husband again, and myself, especially myself. For years, I had viewed my reflection through the eyes of other people. Grandfather, the nobles, the court women, Lilith. Every criticism, every comparison, every whispered judgment, I carried them all. Tau slowly stripped them away, not through grand speeches, not through declarations, through attention, the simple kind, the dangerous kind, the kind that changes a woman without her noticing. I caught him watching me, often. At first, I assumed something was wrong. Eventually, I realized he simply liked looking at me. The discovery was surprisingly unsettling. One afternoon, I caught him staring while I braided my hair. What? He didn't even pretend innocence. "You are beautiful." I nearly dropped the comb. The man said it as casually as discussing the weather, as though beautiful was an ordinary thing, as though it belonged to me. I laughed, naturally. He looked offended. "I'm serious." "Tau." "Scribbles." I rolled my eyes. His gaze moved over my face, then my hair, then lower. The warmth in his eyes immediately made me self-conscious, especially after childbirth. Especially now. My body had changed, softened, curved. Nothing fit quite the way it once had. Tau seemed to consider that an improvement, which I still suspect means something is wrong with him. The first time he said so, I nearly threw a pillow at his head. The second time, I blushed. The third time, I started believing him. A little. Then a little more. For the first time in years, I stopped comparing myself to other women. Stopped comparing myself to Lilith. Stopped wondering if I was enough. Tau never seemed to understand why I had ever doubted it. The ridiculous man genuinely looked surprised every time, as though the answer had always been obvious. Perhaps to him it had. I began noticing things too. The way his face softened whenever he held our daughter. The way he smiled when he thought nobody was looking. The way he reached for my hand unconsciously. The way he still looked at me like I was the most important thing in any room. Not Scribbles. Not the scribe's daughter. Not the wrong wife. Not the burden grandfather claimed I was. Just Adaugo, his wife, his mate, the woman he loved. And for the first time since our wedding day, I finally allowed myself to believe it, which made what happened next all the more cruel. The attack came 3 nights later, and for the first time since our wedding day, I finally allowed myself to believe it. Allowed myself to believe we would be all right. Allowed myself to believe the worst was behind us. The days passed quietly after that, peacefully. We settled into routines, the sort of routines I had once dreamed marriage would bring. Tau repaired things that didn't need repairing. I pretended not to notice. Our daughter developed strong opinions about when everyone should sleep. Mostly, she believed nobody should. Tau claimed she inherited that from me. I claimed she inherited stubbornness from him. Neither of us were telling the truth. She inherited both. The cottage became home in a way Blackthorn Palace never had. No servants, no council meetings, no politics, no nobles, just us. Some evenings we sat outside watching the sunset disappear behind the hills. Some evenings Tau would tell me stories from his warrior days. Others, we simply sat together in comfortable silence. Neither of us realized how desperately we had needed this, how desperately we had needed each other. Looking back now, I think we both became careless, not foolish, just comfortable. For the first time in months, we stopped looking over our shoulders, stopped expecting trouble, stopped expecting the cold fronts, cold shoulders. We stopped creating distance. Perhaps that was our mistake. The first sign arrived several days later. A horse, riderless. The animal wandered into the settlement just before dusk. Its saddle carried dried blood. Nobody recognized it. The villagers were uneasy. Tau immediately became alert. I noticed. Of course I noticed. But when I asked, he dismissed it. Probably bandits. The answer sounded reasonable. It also sounded like a lie. The second sign came 2 days later. One of the hunters reported strange tracks near the forest edge. Too many. Too organized. Not Ragas. Not merchants. Warriors. Tau spent the entire evening thinking, the way he always did when something bothered him, repairing another completely healthy fence. I watched him through the window. He looked troubled. Deeply troubled. The third sign came the following night. Our daughter refused to sleep. For hours. Nothing soothed her. Not feeding. Not rocking. Not singing. Nothing. Eventually, she drifted off. The cottage finally became quiet. I remember looking toward Tau. He was sitting in a chair near the hearth, reading, or pretending to. The firelight danced across his face. Our eyes met. He smiled. I smiled back. Neither of us knew it would be one of the last peaceful moments we would share for a very long time. Sometime after midnight, I woke abruptly. At first, I didn't know why. The room was dark, still, silent, too silent. A strange unease settled over me, the sort that comes before a storm. Beside me, Tau was already awake. His eyes were fixed on the window. Every muscle in his body had gone rigid. Then I heard it. A faint scrape. Wood against metal. Someone outside. Tau slowly rose from the bed. Not a sound escaped him. Not a single one. Then another scrape came from the back of the cottage. And another from the roof. Not one intruder. Several. Tau looked at me. In that instant, we both understood. The peace was over. Tau moved first. Not toward the door. Toward our daughter. That alone told me how serious this was. His blade was already in his hand. Hide her. No hesitation. No panits. Just an order. I was already moving. Months earlier, Tau had reinforced a concealed storage compartment beneath the cottage floor. At the time, I had mocked his paranoia. Now I silently thanked it. I wrapped our daughter in a blanket. She stirred sleepily. My heart nearly stopped. One cry. One loud cry. That was all it would take. I pressed a kiss against her forehead. Not tonight, little moon. The hidden compartment was just large enough. Warm. Dry. Safe. I settled her inside and covered the opening. Then I grabbed the short blade hidden beneath the hearth. By the time I turned around, Tau was already standing in the center of the room, listening. Waiting. The way a wolf waits before it strikes. A crash exploded through the front door. Wood splintered. 3 men surged inside. Not thieves. Not bandit. Warriors. Professional. Fast. The first attacker never even reached the center of the room. Tau's blade flashed. Blood sprayed across the wall. The second assassin came through the window. The third through the rear entrance. They were coordinated. That frightened me more than the weapons. This had been planned, very carefully. I moved instinctively, not because I was brave, because Tau had spent years training me, long before I became his wife, long before I became Luna, back when I was simply the troublesome girl, constantly following him around. Most noble ladies learned embroidery. Tau taught me how to survive. The assassin lunged toward Tau's blind side. I didn't think. I reacted, just as he had trained me. The knife left my hand. It struck the man's forearm. His attack faltered. That brief opening was all Tau needed. One movement, one strike, one less enemy. More shadows poured inside. Too many, far too many. Tau shifted slightly, without words, without even looking at me. But I understood immediately, because we had done this before. Not battles, trouble, countless times. Sneaking into forbidden places, escaping angry elders, running from guards after childish pranks. Years of mischief had taught us something valuable. We communicated without speaking. One glance, one movement, one signal. Enough. An assassin rushed me. I retreated exactly 3 steps, just as Tau expected. The attacker followed, exactly as we wanted. His foot caught the loose rug. He stumbled. Tau's blade found him immediately. Another came from the left. Tau deliberately yielded ground, drawing him closer, toward me, toward the heavy iron pot hanging over the hearth. I swung it into the man's face. The impact sounded horrific. He dropped instantly. A younger version of myself almost laughed. The exact same trick had helped us escape punishment after stealing pastries from the palace kitchens years ago. Tau glanced at me. For one absurd moment, we both remembered. The assassin certainly didn't appreciate the nostalgia. The fight continued. Steel, blood, shouting, broken furniture. The cottage transformed into a battlefield. Yet, somehow, we moved together, like we always had. Not husband and wife, not Alpha and Luna, partners, the way we had always been. One protected, the other distracted. One attacked, the other created opportunities. A dance perfected over years neither of us had appreciated until now. The final assassin realized, too late, that he was losing. He attempted to flee. Tau tackled him outside. The man crashed hard against the ground. I arrived seconds later, breathing heavily, blade still in hand. The assassin looked between us, then laughed, actually laughed. Blood stained his teeth. You should have died. Tau pressed a blade against his throat. His expression had become frighteningly calm. Who sent you? The assassin remained silent. Tau pushed harder. Blood appeared. Who? The man smiled, then looked directly at me. Recognition flashed across his face. The wife, the child, the hidden family. Everything suddenly made sense to him. His smile widened. The first attempt should have worked. My stomach twisted. Tau went very still. The ravine. The assassin laughed. 3 years planning that. My pulse hammered. 3 years? 3 years? This wasn't opportunistic. This wasn't recent. This was deliberate. Tau's voice dropped lower, dangerously lower. Who sent you? The assassin hesitated. For the first time, fear appeared. Tau leaned closer. Who? The man swallowed, then finally broke. Julian. Silence. Absolute silence. Even the night seemed to stop breathing. The assassin laughed weakly. Julian Tarian. The words echoed through me. Not grandfather, not Lilith. Julian, the charming prince, the smiling grandson, the man who won over servants and warriors alike, the man who wanted Tau's position, the man who legally had a claim. Everything suddenly aligned. The succession pressure, the death mission, the disappearance, the timing, the attack. All of it. Julian. The assassin laughed again, then abruptly started choking. Tau's eyes narrowed. Poison. The fool had bitten down on a concealed capsule. Foam appeared around his mouth. Within moments, he was dead, taking countless answers with him. I stared at the body, then at Tau, then toward the east, toward Mooncrawl. Tau followed my gaze. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then his hand found mine, not because he was afraid, not because he needed comfort, because he knew exactly what I was thinking. The same thing he was. We had our answer, and now there was no avoiding what came next. Mooncrawl was waiting, and so was Julian. The journey back to Mooncrawl felt longer than the journey away, not because of distance, because this time we knew exactly what waited for us. Danger, betrayal, answers. The closer we drew to pack territory, the quieter Tau became. His mind was already working, planning, calculating, preparing. 3 days before we reached Mooncrawl, he changed our route. I immediately knew why. His mother's clan, the one place outside Mooncrawl he still trusted, or trusted enough. The clan welcomed us quietly. No questions, no gossip, no celebrations, only guarded concern. Tau's mother nearly burst into tears when she saw us, especially when she saw the baby. For one brief evening, the world felt normal again. Then, reality returned. The next morning, Tau woke before dawn. I found him fully dressed, armed, ready. My stomach tightened immediately. You are leaving. It wasn't a question. Tau nodded. I hated how calm he looked, as though walking into danger was just another responsibility. He crossed the room, then crouched beside our daughter's sleeping basket. For several moments, he simply watched her, memorizing her. The sight made my chest ache. Finally, he stood. His eyes found mine. Scribbles. I already didn't like that tone. You stay here. No. Yes. No. The answer came instantly. Tau sigh hid. The sigh of a man who had expected resistance. I mean it. So do I. His expression hardened. Mine did too. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then he stepped forward, took my hands, and for the first time since finding him in that ravine, genuine fear appeared in his eyes. Not for himself, for us. They know about me. His voice was quiet. They may not know about you. I swallowed. They definitely don't know about her. His gaze shifted toward the baby. Let's keep it that way. The words settled heavily between us. Tau squeezed my hands. No matter what happens. His voice roughened. No matter what you hear. My stomach dropped. No matter who comes looking. His eyes locked onto mine. Do not reveal yourself. A chill moved through me. Tau, I know that is. Promise me. The seriousness in his voice frightened me. I had not heard that tone since the night of the assassination attempt. Promise me. I looked toward our daughter, then back at him. Slowly, I nodded. Tau exhaled. Relief flickered across his face. Then he did something unexpected. He pulled me into his arms, held me tightly, as though he didn't entirely trust himself to let go. I'll come back. The words sounded like a vow. I prayed they weren't a goodbye. Chapter 8. Mooncrawl erupted the moment Tau returned. Word spread through the pack faster than wildfire. Tau Tarian had returned. The dead prince had returned. The forgotten heir had returned. The wolf everyone believed gone forever had walked back through the gates and discovered a kingdom that no longer belonged to him. Julian sat on the Alpha throne, not as acting Alpha, not as temporary Alpha. Alpha. The title had already been claimed. The ceremonies had been held. The allegiance oaths sworn. Julian had moved quickly, almost as though he had been waiting. The great hall fell silent when Tau entered. Every conversation died. Every eye turned. Warriors, nobles, elders, council members. Some looked relieved. Others looked nervous. A few looked terrified. At the far end of the hall, Julian sat upon the Alpha throne. The sight immediately tightened my husband's jaw. Julian rose smoothly, as though welcoming an honored guest, as though he had not spent months trying to erase him. Brother. The greeting echoed through the hall. Warm, friendly, perfectly measured. Welcome home. Tau stopped halfway down the hall. He did not bow, did not smile, did not respond. The silence stretched. Julian maintained his practiced smile. You disappeared for many months. The pack feared the worst. Tau finally spoke. His voice was calm, far calmer than the atmosphere deserved. The pack did not fear the worst. Julian's smile faltered. Tau looked around the hall, at the warriors, at the elders, at the council, then back at Julian. The pack buried me. The words landed heavily. No one spoke. I disappeared. His gaze swept across the room. No investigation. No search. No rescue party. The silence deepened. Interesting. Several council members suddenly found the floor fascinating. Julian spread his hands. What would you have had us do? Tau laughed. The sound carried no humor. I would have expected more from the people I spent years protecting. Not mourning my death when you didn't see the body. You accepted my death because it was convenient. That struck home. Several warriors shifted uncomfortably. Tau pointed toward the assembled court. Who negotiated the eastern trade routes? No answer. Who settled the Bloodfang border disputes? Silence. Who led the rogue campaigns? More silence. Who spent 3 years running this pack while grandfather lay unconscious? Nobody answered, because everybody knew Tau. His gaze moved through the crowd, not angry, disappointed, which somehow felt worse. I bled for this pack. The words came quietly. I buried warriors from this pack. His voice hardened. I carried responsibilities most of you never even saw. A few wolves lowered their heads. Tau nodded once, almost sadly, and all it took was a few months for everyone to forget. The words struck harder than shouting ever could. Julian's smile finally vanished. Brother, I am not your concern right now. Tau cut him off. The interruption shocked the hall. Julian's eyes narrowed. Tau took another step forward, his focus never leaving the throne. You sit in a chair that does not belong to you. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Julian's expression hardened. The council disagrees. Tau looked toward the council. Several immediately avoided eye contact. Cowards. Every one of them. Tau nodded slowly. I see. Then his gaze returned to Julian. Where is grandfather? Julian hesitated, only briefly. But Tau saw it. The warrior saw it. Several elders saw it too. The hesitation was enough. He is unwell. Tau's eyes became dangerous. The hall grew still. Bring him. Julian remained seated. His condition. Bring him. So long as he still has speech. This time, it sounded less like a request, more like a command. A murmur swept through the room. Unease. Doubt. Question. Julian's smile disappeared entirely. Then shouting erupted beyond the rear chambers. Running footsteps. Panic. A servant burst into the hall, white-faced, trembling. The old Alpha. The servant's voice broke. The Alpha is dead. Silence. Absolute silence. Tau didn't move. Neither did Julian. But something changed in the room. Every wolf present understood one thing. Grandfather had been alive moments ago. Alive enough to answer questions. Alive enough to reveal truths. Now he was dead. And the only person who benefited from that silence sat on the throne. Julian. For the first time since entering the hall, Tau smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. It was the smile of a wolf that had finally found the scent trail, and Julian knew it. Chapter 9. Grandfather's death placed everything on hold. Pack law demanded mourning. Council sessions were suspended. Political challenges forbidden. Public accusations discouraged. For the first time since returning to Mooncrawl, Tau's hands were tied. Julian used the time well. He stood beside grandfather's bier, received condolences, accepted loyalty oaths, comforted elders, visited noble houses, attended ceremonies, played the grieving grandson perfectly, and the pack loved him for it. Tau watched, said little, did less. Many believed he had accepted defeat. Julian certainly did. That was his mistake, because while Julian strengthened his position in public, another war had already begun. A quieter one, far from Mooncrawl's council halls and noble estates. The war belonged to me. I had spent too many years believing I was useless in matters of pack politics. Too ordinary, too emotional, too insignificant. Grandfather had spent years encouraging those thoughts. Julian benefited from them. Even Tau, despite his best intentions, often protected me from information rather than sharing it. No more. I was the daughter of Mooncrawl's principal scribe. Records were my childhood. Documents were my playground. Secrets had always hidden themselves in ink. I simply hadn't noticed before. Now I did. The first discrepancy appeared in military supply records. The mission that nearly killed Tau should never have happened. The numbers didn't make sense. Most importantly, the signatures didn't make sense. Someone had altered orders. Someone with authority. I followed the trail carefully, disguised whenever I entered towns, never staying in one place too long, never using my real name, never revealing my connection to Tau. The more I searched, the uglier the picture became. Julian's name appeared everywhere, not openly, but always nearby, like a shadow attached to every bad decision, missing report, suspicious reassignment, and unexplained transfer of money. By the second month, I realized something horrifying. Julian hadn't improvised. He had planned. For years, long before grandfather woke from his coma, long before Lilith arrived, long before Tau disappeared. The realization chilled me, because it meant the trap had never been about opportunity. It had always been about succession, and Tau had been marked long before he knew it. Unfortunately, discovering the truth and proving it were two different things. Then fate intervened. The answer arrived wearing pearls, and answering to the name Lilith, I spotted her by accident at a harvest banquet, the sort of event I usually avoided. Lilith arrived surrounded by admirers. Beautiful, elegant, confident, exactly as I remembered. For several minutes, I considered leaving. Then, I remembered everything she had helped destroy. I stayed. 3 days later, she received an anonymous package. Inside were copies of financial records, military orders, names, dates, and questions. No explanation. No signature. Only evidence. At first, she ignored it. Then curiosity got the better of her. Then she began investigating. And that was when Julian made his mistake. Lilith discovered he had been lying to her. Not about Tau. About herself. Promises made. Promises broken. Influence promised. Influence denied. Access granted. Access removed. For the first time, she realized she had never been a partner. She had been a tool. A very beautiful tool. And Lilith hated being used. The next anonymous package arrived a week later. This one contained more names, more dates, more questions. Lilith followed every lead. By the end of the month, she stopped asking whether Julian was guilty. She started asking how much damage he had caused. Chapter 10. During the mourning period, Tau could do nothing except wait. Julian mistook the silence for victory. He used the weeks to strengthen alliances, visit noble houses, hold private meetings, and consolidate support. By all appearances, he sat securely upon the Alpha throne. Then strange things began happening. Anonymous documents surfaced. Military records appeared. Questions emerged about troop movements. Supply records failed to match official reports. Mission orders showed suspicious alterations. No one knew where the information was coming from. Council members began asking questions. Then more questions. Within weeks, support for Julian quietly began eroding. One elder withdrew his endorsement. Then another. A border commander demanded an investigation. A merchant house requested an audit. The cracks spread. Julian noticed immediately. His meetings grew longer, his temper shorter, and his confidence less convincing. Someone was unraveling the web he had spent years building. He simply did not know who. Tau should have been celebrating. Julian's support was weakening. The council was finally asking questions. Evidence kept appearing. Witnesses kept emerging. For the first time since returning to Mooncrawl, he could see a path toward the truth. Instead, he found himself increasingly uneasy. The problem was Lilith. Not because she was helping, because she was helping too much. The first time she produced evidence, Tau accepted it. The second time, he became curious. The third time, suspicious. By the fourth, he was convinced something was wrong. Lilith sat across from him in one of the palace studies, confidently explaining military records she should not have understood, connecting political events she had never shown interest in, and discussing financial inconsistencies that challenged experienced council auditors. Tau listened quietly before finally asking, "Who helped you?" Lilith smiled. "I helped myself." Tau nearly laughed, not because the answer was amusing, because it was absurd. Lilith was many things: beautiful, ambitious, manipulative, persistent. She was not an investigator capable of unraveling a conspiracy that had been hidden for years. Tau knew it. Lilith knew he knew it. Yet, she maintained the performance. Every meeting left him more convinced she was taking credit for someone else's work. The only question was, who? At first, he suspected council members, then merchants, then old military allies. None of the theories felt right. The evidence appeared too quickly and too precisely. Someone wasn't merely uncovering information. Someone was hunting it, patiently, intelligently, systematically. The realization arrived one evening while reviewing supply records. Tau froze halfway through a page. A familiar feeling settled over him. Recognition. He knew this pattern. The missing connections. The attention to detail. The obsession with records. The ability to find meaning in things everyone else overlooked. There was only one person he had ever known capable of doing that. Scribbles. The name escaped before he realized it. Tau stared at the documents spread before him. The methods, the timing, the discoveries, the relentless pursuit. The pieces suddenly fit together. Not a warrior, not a politician, a scribe, a very stubborn scribe. His wife. The realization should have comforted him. Instead, it terrified him. Because if he was right, Scribbles wasn't safely hidden. She was moving, investigating, asking questions, digging into dangerous secrets. And every new piece of evidence increased the risk. Julian was becoming desperate. Desperate men killed witnesses. Tau rose abruptly. His chair scraped across the floor. A nearby guard looked up. "Your Highness?" Tau barely heard him. His thoughts had already traveled far beyond Mooncrawl. To a woman with laughing eyes. To a little girl with his smile. His chest tightened. For the first time since returning to the pack, the political battle stopped feeling important. Not the throne. Not the council. Not even Julian. Only two things mattered: finding the truth and making sure Scribbles lived long enough to see it. The following morning, Tau quietly doubled the warriors guarding the routes leading toward his mother's clan. He told no one why. But deep down, he already knew. If his instincts were right, his wife was somewhere in the shadows, fighting a war for him. And he had never been more proud, or more afraid. Chapter 11. The first council session after the mourning period was packed. Warriors, nobles, elders, and council members filled every seat, waiting for the witness. One of the surviving warriors from the mission that had nearly killed Tau stepped forward, a man long believed missing, terrified, broken, but alive. His testimony shook the chamber. He described false orders, altered maps, deliberately misleading intelligence, and strategic decisions that left Tau's forces exposed. He spoke of orders instructing commanders to abandon Tau if circumstances became difficult. Then he named the men who received payment. Then he named who authorized those payments. Julian. The chamber fell silent. The mission was never meant to succeed. For the first time, Mooncrawl understood. Tau had not failed the pack. The pack had failed Tau. Julian's defense began collapsing. Witnesses came forward. Records emerged. Financial ledgers surfaced. Some council members still searched for excuses: politics, ambition, poor judgment. Then came the evidence that destroyed every defense. Payment records, private correspondence, sealed transfers, bribes. Every trail led back to Julian. An elderly merchant was called forward, a courier and record keeper whom no one had ever paid attention to. He testified that he had unknowingly carried messages between Julian's agents and hired assassins. For years, he had copied every transaction for his own protection. The chamber listened as the messages were read aloud. Meeting locations, payment schedules, instructions. Then came the final order. Ensure Tau Tarian does not return. Not political defeat. Murder. Planned murder against the wolf who had spent years carrying Mooncrawl through its darkest seasons. The mood of the chamber shifted instantly. An old border captain rose. The wolf who defended our borders? A veteran warrior stood. The wolf who buried our dead beside us? Another followed. The wolf who fed our villages during the drought? Soon dozens were standing. Mooncrawl was remembering. Not titles, not politics. Tau. His sacrifices, his victories, his years of service. Julian had inherited authority. Tau had earned loyalty. For the first time, the pack remembered the difference. The final revelation came unexpectedly. A sealed journal discovered among grandfather's private possessions. The entries had been written before his coma. The council listened as the passages were read aloud. Grandfather admitted his dissatisfaction with Tau's marriage. He believed Adaugo weakened the royal image. He encouraged Lilith. He approved pressure designed to separate Tau from his wife. Most painful of all, he had approved the mission, not as an assassination, not as murder, but as a political lesson. He believed hardship would humble Tau. He believed failure would make him easier to control. He never intended his grandson to die, yet his actions created the path Julian later exploited. The chamber sat in stunned silence. So did Tau, the man who had raised him, the man he respected, the man he loved, had helped create the trap. Tau quietly closed the journal. No speech, no anger. The hurt in his eyes spoke for him. By the final council session, the outcome was inevitable. Julian stood before the throne, no longer confident or untouchable. The evidence was overwhelming. The witness testimony undeniable. The assassination plot proven. The military conspiracy exposed. The council vote was unanimous. Guilty of treason, conspiracy, manipulation of military operations, the attempted murder of Tau Tarian, the betrayal of Mooncrawl. Julian listened in silence as chains were fastened around his wrists. As guards escorted him away, he finally looked at Tau. Hatred burned in his eyes. You were always grandfather's favorite. Tau stared at him for a long moment. then quietly shook his head. No. His voice carried through the hall. You were his grandson too. For the first time, Julian's expression cracked. Then he was gone. The doors closed behind him. The war was over. Tau was vindicated, his honor restored, his name cleared. One by one, the council rose. Then the warriors, then the nobles, until the entire hall stood, not for a throne, not for a title, but for the wolf they had once forgotten, Tau Tarian. And this time, Mooncrawl remembered. Chapter 12. Tau came for us himself. No royal escort, no warriors, no ceremony, just my husband. He arrived before sunrise and nearly got knocked flat by his daughter when she spotted him. I stood on the porch watching them, my daughter squealing, Tau pretending to lose a wrestling match against someone who still struggled to pronounce her own name. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt completely at peace. The war was over. Julian had fallen. The truth had been revealed. Mooncrawl was healing, and so were we. The pack still had no officially crowned alpha. Not yet. Grandfather's final burial rites had to be completed. Among our people, such things were never rushed. There were ancestral ceremonies, moon observations, sacred offerings, council traditions. Months could pass before a new alpha officially received the crown. Tau did not seem concerned. He simply returned to doing what he had always done, holding Mooncrawl together, settling disputes, managing trade, handling warriors, preventing noble families from tearing each other apart. In short, being alpha. Whether the title had been formally given to him or not, eventually the council announced what everyone already knew. Tau Tarian would be crowned Alpha of Mooncrawl. The kingdom celebrated. Mostly. Lilith nearly swallowed her tongue when I returned to the palace carrying Tau's daughter. That memory still warms my heart. To her credit, she recovered quickly. Lilith was many things. Dramatic public humiliation was not one of them. She remained graceful, elegant, perfectly composed, at least where people could see her. In private, however, she still showed her claws whenever our paths crossed. I sharpened mine right back. What Lilith never understood was that she had only managed to trouble me during those years because I had been fighting my own insecurities. That woman would have stood no chance against the version of me standing before her now. After everything I had survived, tormenting Lilith would have been embarrassingly easy. I was the undisputed champion of mischief long before she entered Mooncrawl. Tau could personally testify to that. Unfortunately, my husband had forbidden it. Ignore her. That was always his answer. So I behaved. Mostly. Lilith remained in the palace. She retained several official responsibilities. For now. When I asked Tau about it, he merely smiled. That infuriatingly calm smile, the one that usually meant he already had a solution. Be patient, Scribbles. So I was. Mostly. Besides, I had more important matters occupying my attention. Like the fact that my husband had apparently forgotten he possessed a private bedchamber, the future Alpha of Mooncrawl spent his nights exactly where he preferred, with his wife and his daughter. And absolutely no shame whatsoever. Not that I was complaining. Our relationship no longer needed rebuilding. That work had already been done. Somewhere between surviving exile, raising a child in the wilderness, nursing a stubborn alpha back from death, fighting assassins, and nearly losing each other. We had found our way back, not simply as husband and wife, but as the people we had always been. Best friends, partners, mates, the two idiots who somehow spent years in love before realizing it. One evening, I found Tau sitting on the nursery floor. Our daughter, asleep against his chest, paperwork abandoned beside him, his head tilted back against the chair, completely asleep, the future Alpha of Mooncrawl, conqueror of political conspiracies, terror of rogue wolves, asleep because a 1-year-old had exhausted him. I laughed, then quietly sat beside him. A moment later, his arm found its way around my waist without him even opening his eyes. Instinct, pure instinct. My heart melted. The years had not made us perfect, but they had made us stronger. And for the first time in my life, I was no longer afraid. I trusted my husband completely. I trusted his love, trusted his loyalty, trusted the future we were building together. Tau did not see Lilith as anything, not a temptation, not a possibility, not a threat. As far as he was concerned, she was simply another noble woman occupying space in his palace. The matter was settled, finished, over. Unfortunately, I was a woman, and women notice things. The lingering looks, the carefully hidden resentment, the ambition she still carried behind those elegant smiles. Tau believed the problem had ended. I wasn't so certain. One afternoon, weeks before his coronation, I happened to glance across the palace gardens. Lilith stood beneath a flowering moon tree, speaking quietly with a stranger, a man I had never seen before. The moment she noticed me watching, the conversation ended. The man immediately walked away. Lilith smiled. That same beautiful smile, that same graceful smile, the same smile she had worn years ago when she first entered our lives. A chill ran down my spine. Not fear, instinct, the kind that had saved my life more than once. Perhaps it was nothing. Perhaps I was imagining things. Perhaps I was finally becoming paranoid after everything we had endured. Or perhaps Lilith was not finished yet, and neither was our story.
Tau and Scribbles may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. Lilith still remains. So do the nobles and council members who believe she should be Mooncrawl's Luna. For now, the opposition has been pushed back. But beneath the surface, old ambitions are still simmering, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Before you go, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Which character has impressed you the most so far, and why? Do you think Scribbles can finally rest easy in the palace, or are more challenges waiting for her? Looking back on everything they've endured, who do you believe sacrificed more for their marriage, Tau or Scribbles? Were Scribbles' insecurities about her marriage entirely her own doing, or do you think Tau bears some responsibility for them as well? If you were in Scribbles' position now, safely back in Mooncrawl, secure in your husband's love, loyalty, and faithfulness, would you fight Lilith to reclaim the influence, authority, and positions that were taken from you? Or would you leave the past behind and focus on building your future as Luna? I'd love to hear your theories. To find out what happens next, look out for Part 3 right here on Keone's Dark Alpha Romance Stories. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified the moment Part 3 is released. And while you're waiting, explore our playlists for more Alpha Kings, Defiant Omegas, Rejected Mates, Royal Courts, and unforgettable romance stories. Until next time, fellow Alpha lovers, the story continues.